Hello, everyone. On this Sunday, 6 July 2025, I am Madam Anireju Erewa. Whatever time you are right now, I greet and welcome you to my channel, Anireju News. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Mete wa Biafra de no. Mete wa Biafra de no. Asana heri jibimegi. Mete wa Biafra de no. Akane hiora. Dule o. Mete wa Biafra de no.
Gowon is still talking. Yakubu Gowon is still talking. After he caused the genocide war that British fought for him and his Fulani Nigeria, I was in secondary school, Zix Academy, on Ogorode Road, Sapele, when the war broke out. Unaware that Gowon caused the war. We were lied to and deceived. And at this old age, and with all the atrocities Fulani is committing against his own people in the north, Gowon still rambles when he talks about the war that he caused. Yes, he still rambles. Yes, sir. I have 3 videos and 3 photos to show. The first 2 videos pertain to Yakubu Gowon, Jack. Let's watch the first video.
It took over 50 years, but finally, General Yakubu Gowon broke his silence. He sat before the cameras in 2025 and spoke about the Biafra war. He spoke with a calm face, but behind his word was a storm. I do not regret the war. It was for Nigeria's and unity. That is what he said. But here is the real question. Which unity? Which peace? Which freedom? Because while Gowon speak in comfort, entire communities in Nigeria are living in fear. Not of bombs this time, but of silence, attack, and slow takeover. From Benue to Enugu, from Plateau to Anambra, people are asking, what is really going on in this country? If you think the war ended in 1970, you are wrong. You are very, very wrong. Stay with us till the end, because what you are about to hear may explain why Nigeria is bleeding today. Gowon speaks old wounds open. In June 2025, General Yakubu Gowon gave a public interview. He said calmly, I do not regret fighting the war against Biafra. It was done out of love and unity. But for millions of Igbos and others in the East, this statement felt like salt on old wounds. They remember the bombs. They remember the hunger. They remember the silence of the world as children starve. And now, Gowon said it was done out of love. Can you imagine? It was done out of love. Many were shocked. Some were angry. Others were simply speechless. Yes, the war that never really ended. The truth is, the Biafra war never really ended. Yes, the guns went quiet in 1970, but something else began. Economic punishment, political exclusion, cultural isolation, silent control of land and lives. And while the East tried to rebuild from ashes, a new power began to grow silently. Imagine, a power that today is no longer hiding, it is moving. The Fulani agenda. This is not about ethnicity. It is about truth, control, and survival. The Aburi Accord, the broken peace. Before the war, there was hope. Yes, there was hope. In January 1967, Gowon and Biafra leader Ojukwu met in Aburi, Ghana. They agreed on peace. The deal was simple. Each region will control its resources. Nigeria will be restructured into a confederation, no more domination. But when Gowon returned to Nigeria, the deal was rejected. And just like that, the hope died. The war began. And so did the trust deficit that still exists today. The 20 pounds punishment. After the war, Gowon declared no victor, no vanquish. But action spoke louder. Millions of Biafrans returned to find their bank account frozen. No matter how much they had, the Nigerian government gave them just 20 pounds. Imagine fighting for survival, losing family, losing home, then being told, take 20 pounds, start over. That is not unity. That is quiet punishment. The silence war of today. Now, fast forward to 2025. The bombs may have stopped, but people are dying in their sleep. Villages are being invaded. Farmers can't farm. Children are kidnapped. And who are the accused? Heavily armed men, moving as herdsmen, often called bandits. But many locals call them something else, terrorists. The fear is free, but the silence from the top is louder. Benue bleeds, Southeast cries. In Benue, the land of farmers, 100 have been killed. In Enugu, priests have been kidnapped. In Ebonyi, entire village have disappeared overnight. And still, the federal government keeps calling them clashes, not attacks. But is it really a clash when one side has AK-47s and the other is holding O's? Why Gowon wars matter today? You may ask, why focus on what Gowon said? Because history repeats itself. When people forget, when the man who led Nigeria into war said he has no regrets, he sent a signal to those watching. You can do it again and walk free. That is why words are powerful and silence even more deadly. The 3Rs, a failed promise. After the war, Gowon announced the 3Rs: reconciliation, rehabilitation, reconstruction.
You have seen the video and heard how Gowon, in his recent talk about the war, opened old wounds of the war that never healed, that never ended. Yes, the war never healed and it never ended. Let's see the second video.
It was a stupid war. It was a cruel war. It was a war that ought not to have taken place.
If Gowon had apologized to the Igbos, as you said?
If he had apologized at that point in time and also been able to rein in Usman Katsina and those who were belligerent, those who were murdering Igbo folks in the north, if he had been able to handle them. But the Christian, the Catholic, the catechist son that he was, he certainly was not able because he didn't put himself in power. It was the Fulani oligarchy that put him in power.
You have seen the video and heard the guest, Chief Tola Adeniyi, say that Fulani oligarchy put Gowon in power. The information is online with the caption, Gowon was scared of the Fulani that put him in power. Murtala Mohammed bullied him. You can go online to watch the full video interview. Yes, you can go watch the full video interview. Buckingham Palace, British kings and queens that ruled England, and their ugly, bad intentions across the Atlantic Ocean cannot and should not and must not be overlooked or sidetracked. Yes. England, queens and kings drew treaties and charter to demean Biafra integrity that began with the transatlantic slave trade in 1500. Yes, we have to, they caused the mess that we are in. Buckingham Palace, yes, they caused the mess we are in with Fulani. Yes. Here are a list of painful events British queens and kings that ruled England over decades of years that had serious negative effect on Biafra to the face of the world. Yes, sir. Yes. Yes. We have to talk about them. Yes. Queen Elizabeth I, 1558 to 1603. In her rule is the transatlantic slave trade. That was in her rule, in her reign. Yes. British profited, made huge, humongous profit from the slave trade. And it continued on with King James the 6th, 1603 to 1649, King Charles the 1st, King Charles the 2nd, King James the 2nd, King Williams the 3rd, and Queen Mary the 2nd ruled jointly in 1688 to 1702. Queen Mary died in 1689 and King William III, his reign ended in 1702 when he died. It continued on. This slave trade, all this, the British made profit from it. All these kings and queens, they made profit from this Atlantic slave trade. It continued on with Queen Anne, 1702 to 1714, King George I, King George II, and then King George III, 1760 to 1820. It was in his reign as England king, that America's third president, Thomas Jefferson of Virginia, USA, 1801 to 1809, submit a charter to abolish slave trade in 1807 that went into effect, into law, in 1808. British didn't like it. King George III, King George IV, King William IV, they didn't like it, that it ended, that America ended it, because British was making profit, huge profit, out of the transatlantic slave trade. Yeah. So you can see the wickedness of British. You can see the wickedness of British. They are British. Buckingham Palace is devil incarnated. Yeah, so. Okay, we continue. So, Queen Victoria, 1837 to 1901. She was 18 years old when she was crowned Queen of England. It was in her reign that she signed evil treaties following the First and Second All-European Berlin Conference, 1884 and 1885. British imperialists forced the kings and queens, kings and chiefs in present-day Cross River to change Akwa Akpa name to Calabar in 1884. Shall not they hear? You are hearing. So this Calabar, it was Queen Victoria who changed, she drew a treaty to change it from Akwa Akpa, that meant Great River, to change it to Calabar, that has no meaning. Okay. And it continued with banishment of King Jaja of Okpobo to the West Indies in 1887. He died in exile in 1891. And the banishment of Chief Nana Eriomala Ulumu in Ebrohimi, Ishekiri, Warri Kingdom. And his 2-year trials in Calabar from 1894 to his banishment to Accra, Ghana in 1896. And the British imperialist war in Benin Empire and banishment of Oba of Vorame to Calabar in 1897. He, like King Jaja of Opobo, died in exile in 1914, the year British cornered the Nigeria. Of the three of them, it's only Chief Nana that came back to Ishekri to establish a museum and a palace. Yes, you can go read about that on the history is there online. You can go read about it. This Queen Victoria signed a charter in 1886 to change the name National African Company, NAC, to Royal Niger Company, ROCN. So, show now here. This is, you are hearing what these queens and kings did, the damage that they did to Biafra. Okay, we continue. Because they cannot be left out. Yes, they cannot be left out. Then, she died in 1901. Her son, King Edward VII, 1901 to 1910. It was in his reign Frederick Lugard colonized the north and the Yoruba west and became their governor and married Flora Shaw. Sure, you people are seeing the mess that British did to cost. You are hearing, okay, in Africa, in Biafra. Okay, we continue. Then, after him, King George V, 1910 to 1936. It was in his reign that Frederick Lugard coined the ffects amalgamation measure and was not a part of Biafra. Biafra was not a part of it. Biafra did not consent to it. Everything was under the influence of guns and alcohol of the British. It continued. The 1929 Aba women massacre over British taxation of Aba male farmers. This was in the reign of King George V. Sure, you people are seeing the mess of British royals and kings. Okay. We continue. Over the resources of Biafra. Yes. Then King Edward VIII and King George VI, 1936 to 1952. It was under this reign that British prepared to hand over the cornered Nigeria to Fulani to manage. Yes. Okay, we continue. So you people are seeing the mess of British. Okay. Then, after him, Queen Elizabeth II, who was great-great-granddaughter of Queen Victoria, 1952 to 2022. It was in her reign that British officially handed the cornered Nigeria to Fulani in 1960, October 1, and they call it independence. And the Gowon breached the Aburi Accord that led to the genocidal war. Ojukwu declared Biafra nation on 30th May 1967. Biafra nation is engraved on the ground of BBC London along with other recognized nation of the world. Yes. So Biafra is a nation that is recognized. Is the restoration that Nnamdi Kanu is fighting about in this struggle. Okay. Queen Elizabeth was signatory to use food blockade as weapon of war. And the economic strangulations and the 20 pounds were given to Igbos to start life. The Nigeria pounds was changed to Naira, which is the currency that is being used now. Okay. The Nigerian anthems was changed also. Then there was the Asaba massacre. Then there was the history removed from the Nigeria education curriculum. Gowon removed the bite of Biafra from the Nigerian map. You people are hearing, okay? You are hearing. These are this information, this role that the British kings and queens cannot be left out in this in this struggle. So people will know what's going on. So people will get to understand that British Buckingham Palace has a big role to play in what is happening right now. Okay. So we continue. Yes. And then during her reign, there was the mother of Kensaro Wiwa and the 8 Ogoni activists. And the name Midwest, Niger Delta, Bendel, South to South, Southwest that is given is to cause distraction of the Biafra Eastern region identity. And so Biafrans will say, they won't know that they are Biafrans. Yes. So that was what this all this Bendel and all was about. Then the oil wells that the British and Fulani own and control, and the coastal Biafra resources that Dangote burglarized, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu robbery of the Warri underground pipeline, and the continued economic suffocation, strangulation. Okay. So all this and much more happened in the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. And of course, the agitation to restore Biafra. And we all know all that happened in the militaries did and all that. It was also in her reign that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the extraordinary rendition that happened, and he was renditioned, and he's a British citizen, and renditioned to DSS custody, and they incarcerated him there and British was silent about it. So now she passed on in 2022, and her son Charles the Third is now the king. In his reign, Fulani atrocities wars escalated, and British is silent over the extraordinary rendition of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya to Nigeria since summer 2021, who is a British citizen, and the whereabouts of his British passport, and his trial in May and June 2025 that prosecutors for Nigeria and the masked DXS witness for Nigeria closed their case with no evidence proof against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in June 2025. Okay. The case will continue in July, where defense and lawyers will submit their own ruling on this matter. They will submit their own motion for ruling. America sent 2 observers to watch the court proceeding in the June trial. But till date, British looked the other way. And British was not in court to observe the court proceeding. And the British royal monarchy is the ruling king right now, and is the head of the state and the nation. His son, Prince Harry, and his wife, Meghan, visited the Islamic Nigeria May 2024 to create mental health awareness in a non-Islamic school in Abuja. And that kind of it should raise curiosity. Why didn't Harry go to an Islamic school in Abuja to create a mental health awareness? Meanwhile, Fulani is inflicting mental health, mental illness in Biafra, with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who is in the custody, duress. Okay, so they were there. They even visited Kaduna. Okay, so nothing, didn't do anything. They returned back. The issue of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, they never discussed, and they were in Abuja. Okay. A high court in Nairobi, Kenya, has ruled last month, June 2025, that the 2021 abduction and forced transfer of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu extraordinary rendition from Kenya to Nigeria was unlawful and unconstitutional. So that ruling Nigeria have to be also binded by that ruling. Okay. So British cannot continue to look the other way and be silenced over the extraordinary rendition. Their citizen, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Okay. I have photos of Queen Elizabeth I and Queen Victoria and Queen Elizabeth II and a video for us to see. That is photo of Queen Elizabeth I. British made humongous profit from the transatlantic slave trade that started in her reign. You saw her photo. Okay. All right. Let's see Queen Victoria. That is photo of Queen Victoria. She signed the treaties to change Akwa Akpa name to Calabar and British banishment of King Jaja of Ukpobo, Chief Nana Olomu of Ebrohimi Ishekiri Warri Kingdom, and Oba of Orane because of their stance that did not favor her treaties. She also signed the 1886 Charter to change National African Company to Royal Niger Company. You saw her photo. Okay, let's see Queen Elizabeth II. That is Queen Elizabeth II. She was signatory to use food blockade as weapon of war during the genocide war that British fought for Gowon that took the lives of over 6 million Biafran men, women, children, and unborn children, and 1 million more who suffered kwashiorkor from famine, malnutrition. You saw her photo. Okay. I have a video for us to watch about meaningless Nigeria.
Nigeria has no name. Nigeria means nothing in Igbo language. It doesn't mean anything in Ibibio language. It means nothing in Ijaw language. It means nothing in Efik. It means nothing in Urobo. It means nothing in Ishekiri. It means nothing in Edo. It means nothing in Yoruba. It means nothing in Hausa. It means nothing in Tiv language. It means nothing. Nigeria is a name given to people in Africa by a European man. It is not your name. Can anybody tell us who formed Hausa? Can anybody tell us who formed Yoruba? Can anybody tell us who formed Fulani? They grew as a result of an organic process. When man tampers with the work of God, the nonsense happening in the zoo is what you receive.
You have seen the video and heard that Nigeria have no meaning in any tribe, dialect, or language. No meaning. Okay. All right. Obafemi Awolowo wrote that Nigeria is not a nation. It is a mere geographical expression. There is no Nigerians in the same sense as there are no English, Welsh, or French. The word Nigerian is merely a distinctive appellation to distinguish those who live within the boundaries of Nigeria and those who do not. It's online. Yes. So you can now see. Okay, go take a look. The Midwest, Bendel, Niger Delta, Delta, Southeast, South are British Fulani, and sadly enough, Awushi do not schemes to embed Biafra into the boundaries of the British-crowned Nigeria. Divide and conquer scheme to politically exterminate and erase the name Eastern Region Biafra from the planet Earth. A continuation of the genocide war that British fought for Nigeria 1967 to 1970. Yes. So, Biafra is not in the boundaries of Nigeria. Biafra did not consent to be part of Nigeria. Free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu unconditionally. Thanks for watching. See you next time on Anireju News. If you would like to donate to charity humanitarian, you can do so on my Cash App. You can also visit the Anireju News online shop to order for t-shirts, pens, mugs, and souvenirs. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to bring to the attention of the world that British Buckingham Palace royal monarchy is the hidden core calamities that befell the Eastern region, Biafra, since the 16th century till date. The world should please support Biafra exit from the OIC, Organization Islamic Corporation, Nigeria. Thank you.
Mete wa Biafra de no. Mete na Biafra de no. Asina heri jibimegi. Mete